What's poppin'? It's Kairos, Roasty Roast, man. And in this present moment in time, I'll be breaking down a topic that's been battering my mind for a little while now. The spirit versus the flesh. Now, that's like a consistent war that goes on, like, the light versus the dark. Excuse my little nigga need to clean himself, but that's the light versus the dark. You know, and the nigga, that's funny, but the nigga is the dirty accumulation of one's spirit. And dirt doesn't always need to be something that's horrendous to your own environment. To a dirt helps your health. And the dirty aspect of who you are is your nigga, also known as like your stand. That's like your stance upon reality, or how your opinion is coming into existence. That's the nigga that you are. On some serious like shit, because that's a word, and you may take it as like like I'm trying to be comical or comical, however you pronounce it. I apologize, but in all honesty, I'm being very serious when I'm speaking upon these condensations that we perceive in life, also known as words, that can appear in your atmosphere like rain. People just bringing it in like static all the time. Nigga this and nigga that. What does nigga really mean? But we say it so much, and it's like something that's consistent in reality. And that's because, and it's all those type of things are always because it's in harmony with thy spirit, to where it means something. Just like nigga, naga, niggas, you will start speaking in such dialects or forms of thy tongue to where it comes from a certain land and age itself, making a language. So when you speak such things, you are talking from a presence of a time, to where you are speaking Egyptian when you say things such as nigga, but you may not necessarily be knowing this of it. That's like if words and stuff had elements and languages had elements and shit like that. That's like you talking sand. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a sand element word, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Just like you would look at Cairo, Egypt, and all that shit on some Kaze Kage, a whole lot of sand and shit consistently going on. And that's like the consistencies of like ants, sands. To where it's like it's already shit here in existence. And then there's us. It's like, it's all this greatness that's here. But what about you yourself? And what if you was just sand? And then that's when you start getting the sayings that help you become and evolve more. Like you put enough pressure on coal to become a diamond. And that used to be like a sayings from my own Akashic records or votes from what I know from my memoirs, to where that was a saying that it formulated from people seeing coal as their soul itself, because it was like you may not get the conceptions of what a soul is, or like when we get to speaking Kabbalics, you may get lost in formalizations to where you're mainly third dimensional yourself. So instead of saying you had a soul, you had cold, to where that's what keeps me warm and all that good shit. And cold is it look damn near infinite or something. So I must be cold. I'm just not fully infinite because I am a colored person. I'm just trying to figure myself out. So that's what it means, like all that pressure on it, and it can become a diamond. That's why you can like conceptualize sand, and you may naturally have like a little harbinger that's coming into reality, to where it's like a light, you know what I'm saying, almost like a little chariot, to where you can look at sand and be like, can't sand be diamonds or something like that? Well, it depends on the time. Then you get to thinking of hourglasses, to where that's just like somewhere where you're consistently being beat into like a solid form. You got to deal with the time, dripping and dropping. But it's sand, it's solid, and it keeps adding on top of each other. You can flip it back and forth, but time gonna keep going. Now that's becoming a diamond. That's how I would break it down. You can have your own opinion over my matter of substance that I'm expressing, as most tend to have. But before I jump in further into this video, I only got like 20 little good minutes. I want to jump into the topic of schizophrenia real quick, and I'm not gonna get lost in my own tale, but in a quick short description of who I am, I'm just letting you know for your own health, that when I describe myself, sometimes I do it animalistically. And that's the whole thing for me, a whole little word I made up. I could talk about doing it Kabbalayani or Kabbalistically. But people don't know about the Kabbalics. People don't even know about grimoires. People don't even know about astrology. People don't really even know symbols. People don't know words. Why would I like think you're going to even like know what a true description is? To where I can show you a sigil or a hieroglyph or a rune or things of that type of nature, but you're not in that condensation of matter itself, to where you don't know how to perceive the fourth dimension. You don't know how to conceptualize your own thoughts. So you have to figure out what thoughts are from other people because you don't know what thoughts are yet. And so you're still growing as a soul. Like you may see some little manhwas or like little mangas to where they like upgrade their body. It be like different temperaments and different like evolutions. And as they go through trial and tribulations, they become a greater being overall. You haven't overcame the fourth dimension to where it's like your rock. Like if you had a rock element, you haven't been like a rock spirit yet. So you don't get the shit I'm talking about. Rock spirits will feel it because it's something solid and they're solid as well. And since like you're always like seeking yourself, you will feel me if I'm speaking something that is solid. That's how you know it got some truth into it, even if it's just some truth for you. And that's how you know you're loving it from your own opinion, to where it is something that you can grow through and it helps your masculinity, like onions help your testosterone and stuff like that. Just releasing all them crying type of pores out your system, to where it's like instead of getting lost in misery, you choose to grow. And that's what how onions can help you in a lot of different ways and shit like that. Even in like hermetic remedies and shit. And when I say hermetic remedies, I'm just talking about basic alchemy. You know, where you can put onion and stuff and it heals your soul. It heals your spirit. You know what I'm saying? It cleanses thy body to where you're not in that same substance of life, and it gives you like a little boost or a kick to where you may call that dopamine or something like that, but you just release some stress, you know, and you can just test that shit out for yourself. You know, to where you'll eat and digest the onion, then you'll start feeling lighter, like you're more in the presence. You're not necessarily lost into the conundrum of thoughts that brought you to your present moment, to where you get to being lost in the past or history of oneself, and then you get lost in anxiety or being anxious, to where you add in too many X's, too much time, too many seconds and thoughts that you're not necessarily really trying to pry into. And you just let that become one's existence. So before I get to rambling on too much, I'm gonna jump into this conversation seriously. Now, when I talk about vases, it's on some, or I said vases. When I talk about verses, it's on some Mortal Kombat type shit. You know, to where it's like pressure bubbling, trying to burst the vase itself. To where it's like two different condensations of wind or some going at each other, and it's like who's gonna erupt out the vase. You know, like who really has earned the space of this heirloom or this relic itself. You know, so you got the spirit, and this is something that like I study myself. Not on like I just got this from like some biblics or nothing. I read more holy scriptures than you can even like conceive. Like I'll be on that shit. You know, I'm just talking about like ancient wisdom and knowledge, holy texts and shit. And holy texts ain't nothing but shit that has been condemned great, condemned as greatness by the whole universe, by like at least like a presentation of humanity itself, an age or time of existence that we went through as a flow of beings or spirits ourselves. So just living life on a day to day basis. You know, I was looking for words of power to help me with my current alities or my current situation. You know, to where I was trying to find God. I was trying to find God for myself, and I know God is everything. So if God is everything, I gotta have my own everything revolving around God itself. But I don't want to get lost in trying to be God. So how do I go about doing such things? Well, first of all, you gotta move and get active. And there's about two different ways I move, yin and yang. So you got the spirit, which I relate more to yin, That's why you're in reality in the first place. Then you got yang. Nigga, that's why you talking. That's why you're speaking in whatever type of formalization you are. So that is the flesh. That's yang. And the spirit is yin. So once I started conceiving such things in my own form and likeness and started doing my own studies and writing my own little books and figuring out what philosophy is and what type of stoicism I have throughout all these ancient teachings from these masters that have existed and that have given us the fruit of their labors through the simple things like, I got some good words for you. I got some wisdom for you. What that hit for? Because that's not the flesh. The flesh be drugs. The flesh be something that I can interact with like a rug. The flesh be something I can lay on. And it just like comforts me. And I can just be at peace. That's the flesh. Because my spirit can lay down and be comfortable in all different type of ways, shapes, and forms. But when you jump into that conversation of what the flesh truly is, you got to speak about your own flesh. And that's just like, when you think of flesh, you think of like your light. The two lost things. You think of your light. You know what I'm saying? So you would jump into, what is your skin? What is your conception for your kin itself? How do you see your blood? I got videos on this where I get real deep into the esoterics of just the esoterics of what is that shit called? Oh, I'm shitty. But the esoterics of Ian Soft, to where it's like the growth of your body of God, and that's talking about man, y'all know that little shit you be seeing. They got like Chakma and shit inside. They got Chakma. It's talking about what's the other shit? Like I got Bana and all that. I see that shit as like some chakra reproductive seal. I don't want to play too much, but that's how I honestly describe it to myself. And I know it got a heavier gratitude than I said a heavier gratitude, but a heavier gravity than what I may be expressing when we talk about occultic heirlooms or occultic, like, you know what I'm saying, gifts and just arts throughout history. You know, it's something amazing, and like you should tap into it for yourself. Just Einsof, Einsof, and that's like the true word for God. You know, like for me, if I was like how I visualize reality, if I was an Elven or of that likeness, or like you see Elvins and animes and cool little shows and stuff like that, my God would be Ian Soft, to where I grow through purity or the purest light, to where there are different versions or virtues of light itself. And light comes from virtue. And that's like a lightning and stuff word. That's a version of something coming through reality. It's that simple. You can get deeper with it if you want to, but I don't feel like going into all that. So, in that battle, the spirit is always winning because the spirit is empowering thy flesh. Without the spirit, you really don't got no flesh. That's somebody saying you don't got shit going for yourself. You can have all this like character, but you don't do anything with it. So you don't become anything in reality. So who are you truly? You just like a shitbag. You just a whole bunch of flesh, blood cells, and pus just enormicating or recuperating, trying to like encapsulize your own little space of reality, living parasitically. If you ignore the values of your own spirit. And that's how most beings come to like being life. Not having any discipline, not having any organization or order, not having any love for who you are. Because when you talk about R, how I see it, I see it like OR, like or. You know what I'm saying? That's like the value. If you have like some jewelry aspect of your soul or being, I know that's crazy, but you got an or. And you probably like just let your ore be whatever it is. You ain't never refined it. You ain't never tried to like get busy with no blacksmithing type of shit. So you get lost in your blackness. You always lacking. You ain't never working on your color. You're not ever trying to refine or bring a glow to one's brilliance, to where you bring other spirits and bodies and that same sense of substance to where you're great at. And then they get to know more about who you are. And then you become greater in life as you work with that knowledge that you gain through your experience. But you got to rinse and repeat. If you want to have prosperity, you got to bring in rivers to have fruits for all your labors. Otherwise, that shit ain't going to amount to nothing. So that's just like a day-to-day occasion of shit, and that's why we know about things like Saturn and things like time and how life consistently goes on. So where you can speak about ashes, but ashes is ASHES if I'm not mistaken, and it has she within it, correct? So when you're talking about ashes, you're talking about the accumulation of your she, damn near like your sheep, the thing you're pulling along and you're in life in reality and your being in existence. It's that simple, you know. To where you're talking about your ashes, to where it's like, I know everyone doesn't like enjoy getting it's not even intoxication, but getting injected with all that extra loviness. That's what I say it is from smoking. But that's why when you smoke, your she come out, you know, to where it's like you hit a, and it sound like she for real. When you, that's a whole, when I say it sound like she, as you're interacting with this space of just smoking. I know a lot of people don't think about like the esoterics of your day-to-day life, so you don't got to get lost in all them conundrums, and I'll be breaking a lot of that down. I got special abilities when it's related to stuff like that. When I'm revolving around stuff like that, I got a whole lot of cool stuff I know how to do with my little gadgets of information and life and shit I be living. But these ashes are like different aspects of your spirit just like coming into being. Like you're burning away all that old nastiness. Like if you was ore, it's like, alright, you get into that situation of smoking where you really finna smoke, you just get into that situation, you probably had to clean yourself as a spirit to where now you're living in a spiritual likeness. Then you start smoking. That's that heat and flame. Now when that heat and flame get on that, we're revealing what this ore truly is. And then after that happens, it's up to the witnesses or the wielders of that existence itself to decide how they're gonna pick at you. Now, that's wielders, and niggas be wielding a whole lot of stuff, so anybody can be a wielder when you think like that. Now, motherfuckers are going to picking at you and whatnot. Then that reveals your true color, who you really are, your ore. And that's it for the little debaticles that I had to ramp rampant vent up on. I had a little rampant, but yeah, that's it really. And yeah, man, I want to give some holy advice for those that have went through like deep, you know what I'm saying, just trauma involving your character's growth. Because we all have our own character. And when you go through shit like just having any type of disability, not really being able to grasp an aspect of reality for yourself, you know, you can be labeled as someone with schizophrenia or something. And it's the type of shit I have went through and the type of shit I'm still going through in my day-to-day life. But this is the bright side of all of that. To where life isn't something that you should be condemning all the time. Life isn't something that you should judge all the time. Life is something that you should be living, regardless of what life you are living. You must honor it, for that is your soul. And that's all you got, nigga. And if you don't love yourself, ain't nobody else gonna love you, regardless of what you're going through. So you just gotta keep going. I could be like Jesus Christ, trying to like talk to you in person or like information, and I'm just speaking like you should get the flow of how I'm coming. You still wouldn't accept me for who I am because it's like I'm in a human fleshly body like you. And so regardless of like what you want to conceive life to be, you have to get out them like ditches, them runts, them bad places on your own. And On is a light word. There used to be a city of light named On. O-N, nigga, look it up. You know? So, yeah, that's what I wanted to give the world and be able to give a little special piece of myself. You know what I'm saying? Throw a few gems out there for whoever's trying to catch them. But yep, that's the basis of it, and don't get lost into it. The spirit or the flesh or anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be just us, lost to where it's like you just, if you seen Bleach, that little anime, and you just walk around Waco Mundo, just trying to wake up all the time. That ain't what life is about. If you're looking for what life is about, it's simple. It's happiness. You're trying to see what's happening about. You're trying to see what's going on around you. Like you riding a horse or something. You check what's about. Checking around and shit like that. It's that simple. So keep going. Love, I'll be here more often. You know what I'm saying? Working hard and getting back into the swing of things, but I got to get myself together as well before I start just focusing on the world. Yep, love ya. Hokage.